Very soon, we might be returning to Monkey. How's it, everybody? Celtic Link here. We're back for another Dokkan battle video. In today's video, we have an interesting tidbit of information coming from Proton 10MG about some updates to certain sprites within JP's data as part of their latest data download. And I believe this may be giving us some hints to a future celebration coming to Global Dokkan 1 concerning one of my favorite series in the Dragon Ball franchise, that is Dragon Ball GT. So, according to Proton 10MG here, we have the updated character assets and ID for this card right here being updated, right? The Super Saiyan 3 STR GT Goku with the giant ape. So interesting that they chose to update him, right? And the way they specifically updated him, right? His ID was shifted so he is no longer Super Saiyan 3 base. He is now a Super Saiyan 3 with the golden tail, right? It makes sense that he would have had this before, right? He has to have the tail to go golden great ape, but in the past they didn't. Now, they don't typically revisit these things unless there's a major reason, right? Otherwise, you know, it's been this way for years. Why not just leave it as is? No, they updated it. Now, what does that tell us? That tells us that something related to GT is coming very soon, and we simply know this just because Dokkan is pretty predictable and has a history, right? Shout out to Misaka for pointing this out, right? Previous times they've adjusted battle assets and IDs was with the Fizz Ribri Ann. They adjusted hers, adding little details, and shortly thereafter, just about we received the LR U2 trio. So, I mean, that's one for one there. Another time that this had happened, right, was with fixes to the 10 billion warrior assets, for specifically the story mode assets, and shortly thereafter we later received a LR metal cooler, right, during Worldwide 2022. So I mean, it's hard to say there isn't a correlation, and if that wasn't enough evidence for you, well, the big major one that we all remember, right? Shortly before the 9th anniversary, around the same time, I think that I believe this happened around December timeframe with the LR Super Saiyan Trio is when this got updated. They updated the sprites in the battle assets for Super Saiyan Blue Evolution Goku and Super Saiyan Blue Kaioken Goku and Blue Evolution Vegeta. Their battle sprites were updated, and we would later come to find out during the 9th anniversary in February that they received an easy A. So, I mean, all of our spidey senses seem to be indicating that something related to this guy is coming soon. Now, it's probably an easy A. You know, he's long overdue for one, but then that begs the question, well, what kind of celebration would he easy A for? And of course, I mean, it should a GT Hero celebration. Why not, right? GT very rarely gets love. Maybe once a year, if we're lucky, does GT get some love from Dokkan. So why not make it one of the biggest celebrations of the year? Yes, that's right. I believe this asset was updated in preparation for a GT Heroes themed worldwide celebration. Now, I don't think it will cover a specific saga because, you know, kind of the same deal with Future Saga. It wasn't necessarily one specific battle. It was more sort of Trunks' struggle through the future, to include Vegito, right? Now, I think we could see something similar to this, just sort of an overarching GT theme. And I say that because last year we got the baby theme for Tanabata, and I doubt they would revisit the baby arc again. They could revisit Omega versus Gogeta, but then again, that's still only one part of the celebration. It leaves the whole other part of the celebration completely open, right? Remember, Worldwide will end up probably following the the DFE Carnival format, as did Anniversary this year. So given that, I think we have some pretty good likely things to see, right? I don't think we'll get another Super Saiyan 4 Goku, though. What I think we could see, given the sparsity of the opposite category, right, we'll probably get a GT Hero and a GT Boss in parts 1 and parts 2, right? So, right, GT Bosses really need some characters, right? We look at the characters here, and you know, you've got Omega Shenron, you've got this dude who is already approaching his EZA status. He never really got a chance to be relevant. You've got these guys who are just waiting for their Battlefield EZA. This dude just got an EZA. He has a few places he can shine, but he really shines on GT Heroes, GT Bosses, but GT Bosses is what GT Bosses is right now. These guys have some potential, right, once they get rainbowed up, and then Sen is still alright for what he is, but right now it's basically Omega carrying the team. So what they could end up doing, and this is what I foresee, is similar to what they did when these guys released on Global and JP for Golden Week, the Super Saiyan Goku and Vegeta GT. We could see something very similar to their release, where an overarching GT theme. So part 1 could release, say, a new Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta, right? We got Super Saiyan 4 Goku last year, so why not give us Vegeta this year, LR Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta as a Dokkan Fast LR, right? Or actually, you know what? I could see him being the Carnival LR, seen as he was, we already have a Dokkan Fest LR Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta. And then his counterpart would be a new Dokkan Fest LR Baby. We do not have that here in this yet in this. Now, for the second part of the celebration, I could see us getting a Super Saiyan 3 GT Goku. After all, that's probably why these assets were updated, getting a Super Saiyan 3 to Super Saiyan 4 Goku. Now, I don't think his opposite will be Baby, right? I think his opposite will end up being Sin to Omega. Or they could probably sway. It could go really either way, right? They could do a Dokkan Fest LR version of this guy, although I think he'll be the Carnival LR. Honestly, I would see both super class characters being a Carnival LR, since we already have Dokkan Fest LR counterparts for these guys. So what I could see happening here is Super Saiyan 3 Great Ape Goku, as, you know, one part with Baby or Omega as his counterpart, and then Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta as a Carnival with Dokkan Fest LR, Baby, or Omega as his counterpart. And the Omega, I imagine, since we already have an LR Omega, is probably going to be a Sin transforming into Omega. That would probably be the best way to go about it. So just sort of a general 2 Saga celebration for GT Heroes and GT Bosses to just kind of give both categories really what they need, because GT Heroes is kind of in an okay-ish place right now, right? It can win some of the more harder events with the proper use of items. GT Bosses is kind of the same way, although struggling a little bit more just because Omega basically carries the team. So I could definitely see either one of these scenarios happening. They could really split it up either way. I really like the idea of getting a Vegeta and Baby Vegeta together, just like that juxtaposition, even though they didn't fight as obviously, but a juxtaposition of Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta and Baby Vegeta releasing simultaneously, I think would be kind of cool, and that's kind of why I say I would want to see that as the part 1, but maybe I'm maybe I'm alone there, right? Maybe it's probably Goku and Vegeta part 1 and then GT Bosses part 2. They can split it up however they want. I honestly don't care, as long as they give both of the categories the buffs they need. And it really does stand a chance to get a lot of buffs, right? There are so many possibilities for EZAs. This guy does not yet have an EZA, the Fizz Super Saiyan 2 Goku, right? Int Gogeta could be in line for an EZA. Super Vegeta has EZA, therefore these guys have a high likelihood of getting an EZA during this campaign, like worldwide this year. All other previous Golden Week units before them have now EZA'd. stands to reason that they could be next in line. We also have the possibility of a super EZA for these two guys. Still think it's a bit too soon, but hey, I mean, there's not really any other GT heroes that have the possibility of getting that kind of super EZA yet. So, I mean, hey, why not jump the gun? They already jumped it to characters like Goku Black and Super Saiyan 3 Gotenks, so why the heck not, right? Obviously, this guy is likely to get an EZA since his specific sprites were updated, but I also do think he probably will take part as an LR. And then this guy, right? Like the Super Vegeta, the AGL one, that waited forever to get his EZA. This guy also does not yet have an EZA, so he could also receive something as well, this Super Saiyan 3 GT Goku. Honestly, there's a whole lot that could come of this kind of celebration, all based off the change in assets and ID to this one character. And I really, really hope I'm onto something here, right? GT, like I said, is one of my favorite series other than the original. Super Saiyan 4 is just such an iconic form, and I really hope we get to see some more of it during this worldwide celebration. So guys, that is it for the video. If you liked the video, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe to the channel if you have not already. In the comments down below, let me know, what do you think all of this means, and do you think that I'm onto something with this worldwide? What do you think of my idea for the worldwide LRs? Don't really care too much about the pairings as long as they're there. I don't care what parts they're in, but curious, let me know what you think in the comments down below. Otherwise, guys, as always, thanks for watching, and aloha.